Deceit, lies, and treachery are things to be avoided, but in certain circumstances, you can turn them to your advantage. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We are here today to talk about a newly spoiled Theros Beyond Death card. Now, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through the history of some cards that sort of lead up to this one, and we will talk about the very interesting spoiler near the end of the video. Before we jump in, just go ahead, if you like what's going on this channel, or you're new here, whatever, hit the thumbs up button, do the subscribing, all that goodness. I've noticed that the videos get a better response from YouTube if I mention this at the beginning, so I will do so. That being said, let us talk about deception, deceit, and treachery. And a great place to start is with the Phyrexians. If you've been playing Magic for a long time, you'll be familiar with the Phyrexians. On the screen right now, you can see a Phyrexian portal. This is a very old artifact. It'll cost you 3 mana. It has the ability pay 3, target opponent looks at the top 10 cards of your library and separates them into 2 face-down piles. Choose one of those piles and remove it from the game. Search the remaining pile and put one of those cards into your hand. Shuffle the remaining cards into your library. Ignore this effect if you have fewer than 10 cards in your library. It's interesting to note that if you look at the new wording of the card, it says if your library has 10 or more cards in it. So they basically cover that whole clause of you have to have at least 10 cards at the beginning. I just thought that was an interesting little change. But overall, the idea behind this is your opponent's going to take a look at all 10 cards off top of your deck, put them into 2 piles that you don't get to look at. So you have no idea what you're about to remove from the game. You pick one of those piles, all 5 of those cards are exiled. They're not coming back. And out of the other pile, you only get to take 1 card. This was a huge risk for not much reward card back in the day. That's how it felt to a lot of people specifically, because I mean, you are chewing through your deck at this rate, right? Like you go through a lot of cards, and honestly, back in the day, we were more averse to costs like this, where you're like, I'm losing cards from my library, not realizing just how many cards it takes to lose from your library for it to really, truly matter. But either way, this was not a particular powerful version, a well-liked version of this effect. This effect became more popular later on. The artwork for this is kind of wonky. You can see a Phyrexian portal machine, and you've got these claws of Phyrexians kind of reaching through, and it looks like they're like just ripping pages out of your spellbook randomly. But what are you gaining from this? Like, where is the representation of the knowledge that you gain at all? It just looks like a bad time. Like, I mean, it's a pretty interesting depiction of self-milling, where you've got this portal that's literally sucking pages up out of your spellbook. But I don't see anywhere where it's showing any kind of reward. You just got this hellish looking portal where demon hands just rip through and start pulling pages out of your book. And the guy's like, this reaction to it is like he didn't actually intend to activate this portal. Like, is this supposed to be the first time he's ever used it? Because he's leaned back like, what have I done? This was a terrible decision. So this is the first iteration of this style of ability, and this is the focus of the video in terms of what we're going to see that's relevant for the spoiler. So that was the first style of one of these cards, as far as I can recall going back in Magic history. The time that it actually became popularized and meant something was when they did Fact or Fiction. And that is 1 blue and 3. It's an instant from Invasion. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. An opponent separates those cards into 2 face-up piles. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Now, a lot of people used this card when it originally came out. In all honesty, when I thought about these kind of effects, this is the first card that pops into my mind. I don't actually think of Phyrexian Portal. I had to just kind of go back and go, okay, there's got to be something older in Magic than Fact or Fiction where they tried this before. Most of the time when you're dealing with the top of deck manipulation, it involves you getting to decide. But having your opponent choose it adds an interesting dynamic to it. So with this one, it's just the top 5 cards of the library, so nothing's getting exiled. And an opponent separates those cards into 2 face-up piles. So unlike before, In the face down scenario, you had no idea what you were giving up. With this, both piles are face up, which means you can look at them, and you get to keep one full pile. So in most cases, you're going to be getting at least 2 cards from this, where the Phyrexian Portal was only going to give you 1 card. So already it's a step up in this in that degree, right? Now, there's the whole your opponent decides, so how are they going to choose to do things? Are they going to pick the most powerful spell that they absolutely know that you need and put it over to one side and give you the other 4 in one other pile, where they're hoping maybe the sheer amount of cards that they have in the other pile will make you go like, I'm a bargain hunter, that's a good deal, I'll take 4 cards, even though the 1 card is what you need to win right then? Are they going to put it into a pile of 3 or 2? Or are they going to take the card that actually really matters to them and just kind of shove it into a pile, just hoping that you won't realize what's truly important to their strategy? It's interesting to give your opponent the information, and I love the artwork here. You've got Hannah and Squee, and you've got Squee, and he is caught deep in what's known as decision anxiety, where he does not know what to pick at all between the 2 different papers that he has in his hands. I enjoy the concept. I like this old artwork here. Therese Nielsen does some fine work. So that's pretty cool with me overall, the Fact or Fiction card. And it was pretty cool with a lot of people. So it became sort of the standard for this style of effect. They've tried other variations, but Fact or Fiction is the tried and true, whatever that means, tried and true variation. Now, they revisited the concept and did a tweak on it when we went to Eldritch Moon with Fortune's Favor. 1 blue, 3 colorless, and target opponent looks at the top 4 cards of your library, separates them into a face down and a face up pile. And you put 1 pile in your hand and 1 pile into your graveyard. And the flavor text says, uncertainty has its own allure. And that's true. The random, unknown nature of things is attractive to people. I definitely fall into the category of people who enjoy that concept. Now, this is a little bit different, obviously, than Fact or Fiction, because first of all, you're dealing with fewer cards. Instead of having 5 cards, this one is them looking at the top 4 cards. And you don't have information. You don't have all the information, so you can't agonize the same way as you would over Fact or Fiction with perfect information. Now you have to agonize over imperfect information. And it's like, did they put spells that I really want face down? Or is it just a couple of lands face down? Like, this one is more where deceit and trickery and a little bit more mind games come in. And it makes it, yes, this is definitely less powerful than Fact or Fiction. Fact or Fiction is definitely more powerful, but Fortune's Favor is more fun in terms of, okay, you know what, this is going to mess with you a little bit more in terms of, all right, which way am I going to go with this? So this kind of like deceit here, what's in the mystery box, what's up in your hands, all these variations here are leading into the spoilers. So we had the Phyrexian Portal, which was your opponent looking at one of, basically putting into 2 face down piles. Then we moved into Fact or Fiction, where they found a sweeter spot for the ability. Then they pulled it back a little bit with Fortune's Favor. And that leads us to Atris, Oracle of Half-Truths, which is a very, very flavorful, cool concept. Flavorful. Actually, no, depending on how you view it, that might work too. Anyways, 1 black, 1 blue, and 2 for a 3/2 menace, legendary creature, Human Advisor. When Atris, Oracle of Half-Truth enters the battlefield, target opponent looks at the top 3 cards of your library and separates them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. Put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. So you can see how we got from the Phyrexian Portal to this ability. This is a trimmed-down version of Fortune's Favor, where you get 1 fewer card, but you get it attached to a 3/2 menace body for not an unreasonable amount of mana. Overall, this doesn't seem to be insanely powerful. It seems like it could be a fun brawl command, or I guess even just regular commander style commander. For me, the more I thought about the flavor behind it, the more I got excited about the card overall. The idea of an Oracle of Half-Truths. Half-Truths are where you basically say something that sounds like, okay, you know what, that sounds true, and or it can actually be true, but is deceptive. You know what I mean? If it's like I said, you know what, like in the last 40 years, I've only ever fallen off a pogo stick once. And you're like, wow, he must be really good at pogo sticking. And it's like, I just didn't tell you. I only got on a pogo stick once and I fell. So I fell 100% of the time. You know what I mean? That is a deceptive, like, half-truth kind of statement where it's like, yes, what I'm saying is technically true, but it's meant to give you an impression that it's not real. You know, there's a number of different variations of half-truth, but that gives you the concept overall, where basically it's a statement that is going to mislead you. There will be some truth in there, but you won't get an accurate depiction of reality from the statement. So an oracle of half-truths is such a really amazing concept, because an oracle is somebody who can see the future. But when it's somebody who can see the future and only uses half-truths, you can't really trust them, right? And the idea that you can't really trust Atris is interestingly shown in the abilities as well. I mean, first of all, the fact this is an oracle that has menace. That means that people can feel, they feel uncomfortable around Atris. They're like, there's something about this individual. It's like, I don't want to be around him alone sort of setup, which is definitely a very flavorful thing for, that's coming from the black side, right? Like, when you look at the abilities, the deck manipulations, the blue part, and the menace ability would be the black colored part here. So the situation also extends into half-truths when you look at how his ability interacts here. Like, if you think about it conceptually, he's showing up to help you and advise you, right? But how does he do that? By exposing information about you to your opponent. Your opponent gets to gain information from you by looking at the top of your library. They're learning about your spells. They also get to decide what goes in what pile. So it's almost like Atris, in a way, is half conspiring against you to help you. Like, the Atris is so just messed up as an oracle of half-truths, just so insidious that it doesn't matter. You're just some powerful planeswalker, but he still wants to screw with you. You know what I mean? Like, it's so thoroughly ingrained in him to be a deceptive snake that it doesn't matter how powerful you are, he's still going to try and pull his nonsense on you. And you can see how that would appeal to people who had the same kind of character, right? A black-blue mage with the same kind of disposition towards deceit and treachery would probably find interacting with Atris to be fun, because it's like, all right, let's pit our different machinations against each other sort of thing. But as a planeswalker summoning you up, I feel like I've got a leg up kind of scenario. So just the idea of an oracle who can see the truth, but it's like, are they unwilling to ever share the truth with you? Is that what it is? Or are they incapable of seeing the truth? Either way, I like that idea where it's somebody who has information about the future, but good luck figuring out what part of what they're telling you is the useful, true part of the information. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think that concept is as cool as I do? What do you think about the card as well, power level wise? I feel like it's somewhere in the middle. In draft or limited, could be pretty beefcake there, but otherwise not too shabby. I would definitely put this guy into my cube. Anyhow, let me know your opinions. Appreciate all of you coming on by to hang out. Big shout out to my patrons and channel members. I'm going to put links up here, including a playlist of more of these spoiler videos. If you'd like to continue to explore Theros with me, then come on aboard. Let's have a good time. Either way, I will see you all later. And remember, together, we are the sixth color of magic.